Okay, we have a special guest this evening. I know a lot of you have been looking forward to it. I have Max Egan this evening. He is from Queensland, Australia, and Max has a brand new film out. I know some of you have already watched it. It just came out 4 days ago, I believe, and it is called The Awakening Divine Connections. You can check it out at thecrowhouse.com or just go to YouTube and punch in Max Egan with an I, that's I-G-A-N, and you will see all of his works. He's got so much going on, and he's getting such great reviews, and just tens of thousands of people are flocking to his films, and I'm just so excited that he takes the time and comes on my show. I feel so fortunate for that. Max Egan, welcome to Don't Tread on Me once again. How are you?
I'm good, John. How are you, mate? Can you hear me okay?
Oh, yes, you sound great. Max, why did you do another film? What's different from this and the other three fantastic films that you've already done?
Well, this one's a little bit more centering on the consciousness side of things, John. It's a little bit... the others have sort of provided the background of what's sort of going on in the world, so to give people an idea that things aren't what they seem. This one sort of approaches things from a little bit more spiritual aspect, try to get people to understand their relationship to this world and their relationship to the Creator, how they can literally control this reality with their thoughts and their emotions, and just sort of how it works a little bit. So sort of, I think the time's getting short. I think people need to become aware of these things, and so as it sort of everything gets to me a bit clearer, I sort of like to get the information out there and keep it coming out to try to keep people up to speed on what's going on, really.
Yeah. It appears to me that you are taking people down a path one step at a time with each of your films. I think that's just brilliant. Of the four,
I think that's the way. I think that's the way it has to be done. Really, sorry to butt in.
No, that's fine. No. I just think it's a brilliant concept, because if we give the grand secret, which we want to get to, right? And you're now really coming into that with this new film, The Awakening. If we give that up front, we just scare a lot of people away. We really have to start off slowly, don't we? And then just bring them into it.
Oh, very much so, John. I mean, it's a hard thing for people to sort of deal with. People think that, this is just some sort of a conspiracy theory, New World Order thing. It's very hard for people to come to terms with the fact that everything they've been taught about this reality, about their history, about everything, is completely wrong. I mean, people have spent a lot of their lives going through these educational institutions and getting themselves to where they are in life, and it's very hard for these people to sort of face the fact that none of it's true, and most of what they're doing is completely unnecessary. And they're basically under control. They're just in a system of slavery, and they don't even realise it. And it's very sort of hard. So you've got to sort of try to break the information to people gradually. You really, really do. Like, I believe you give someone half a cup of water, and if they come back and want the rest of the cup, you give them a bit more. Someone says they're thirsty for information, there's no good turning a shower on and drowning them, because they just won't get any of it. You've got to give it to them a little bit at a time. Waking people up is a gradual process, but I think it's important that people do it, and people do get the information.
Yes, and we were talking earlier this evening, and you mentioned how the New World Order has dumbed Americans down, and actually the entire world. And you mentioned something about a test that you've linked to on your website that people ought to check out and try to take.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an 8th grade test from Kansas. I mean, it's been around on a few websites. I just thought I'd put it there because it might give people an idea of how much of our life skills have actually been taken from us in the last 100 years. It's an 8th grade test from Salina in Kansas, and you'd find that a lot of university students couldn't pass this test today. I mean, for people around the world, obviously there's a little bit of American history that might be a bit difficult for people like me, but overall, when you look at the overall test and the overall aptitudes they're asking the students to have, it'd just be interesting to see how many people can actually pass this test. And the interesting thing about this test was actually the students could do it in 7th grade if they wanted. And if they didn't pass it, then they had the chance of doing it again in 8th grade. So this test was passed by 7th grade students 100 years ago, or 120 years ago. So that's something for people to really think about. That a lot of what the New World Order's done with television and all of the stuff that they've done with their corporatization of the world, and they're putting people in these mass population centres of huge big cities and bringing all their food into them, and everything that you want, you just go to the supermarket, you just go and buy from the local convenience store. People have lost all their life skills, and they don't realise how vulnerable they are, because if this corporate apparatus was to suddenly stop functioning, all of the supermarket shelves and everything they depend on for their everyday lives would all be depleted within 3 days. So people need to gain a little bit of understanding of that, of how under control they are and how easy it would be to control them simply by shutting down the transport system. This is why people have to stop complying with the system. People have to get their humanity back. They have to start to get some of their life skills back and get back in touch with the earth, get back in touch with themselves and with each other. Now, if you step back and look at the TV society that we've got now, it's nothing like what mankind is supposed to be. We've been moved so far from our centre of balance, from our spiritual centre, from our connection to everything, to each other, to God, to the earth, to everything. And people need to look at this. I think it's extremely important. I think people need to understand what this reality is all about, how they're controlled, and how they're helping to create this reality. And that's basically what the film is trying to do to people. This last one, like I said, the first few films have tried to get people to understand that there is a system of control in place in this planet, whatever you want to call it, whether you want to call it the Illuminati or whatever you want to call it. There's a lot of people who have looked into a lot of different areas. There's a lot of different arms to this octopus. And thank God for the work that people have done, that certain people have done on the Fabian Society, or that certain people have done on the Bavarian Illuminati, and people like, even with David Icke, even like David Icke talks about reptiles. Whether that's real or not, I don't know. I've never seen one. I don't know. But all research is good research. Anything that helps us understand this is good research. But yeah, if you can step back and look at the whole thing, a definite picture does develop. And I believe there's a very easy way of addressing the situation. And I believe that it's the message that has been brought to us in scriptures and ancient lessons of ancient masters and all sorts of things. And I'm not speaking with religious overtones here. I just believe that that's where the answer lies. I think it's been there right in our faces the whole time. We've just been taught to forget it.
Yes, I think the New World Order grabbed a hold of Christianity and all the other religions and really ripped the heart out of it and gave us something sterile, and so people are lost. But you're really talking about the message of Christ, are you not?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he definitely had the right message, but you've got to see what that message was. And it's not the message that is traditionally portrayed in the Bible. I mean, there's a lot of it in there, but then you've got the whole biblical canon around it to confuse the whole issue. And you've got to understand, Jesus didn't follow any religion. Jesus tried to tell people to live in a state of love, to live in an energized state, and that heaven lies within, and that what you do inside yourself, what you feel and your emotions, and what energy you channel is what is used to create this reality. That's truly what his message was. And if you go back and look beyond the biblical edits of the 4th century, you find that these messages are in all of those books. You can go and look at the Dead Sea Scrolls, you can look at the Gnostic texts, and you can look at other texts, look at some Eastern philosophies, and you can find all of these teachings in there. And we've been taught by religions that we say a few words and that's the prayer, but it's not. The prayer is a feeling. The prayer is a feeling that comes within. And religions have taught us to externalize all of this, externalize our connection to God, to believe that there is an external Saviour. When Jesus tried to tell you that the Saviour is within, heaven lies within, and that you too can be as I am. That's what his message was. And I think it's an important message. And like I said, this may sound religious, but I'm not a religious person. This is just what I've come to find out through my research. And I've tried to look at things from all perspectives. I've tried to stand back and look at it from an Eastern perspective. I've looked into the occult simply because I want to know what these people do. Whether I believe the occult or not, a lot of the people that are running the planet do. So you need to look into this stuff to find out what they're on about, so you begin to understand them, because you can't understand your enemy until you understand the weapons they use. And what you find out is that all of the occult ceremonies and all the things they do are all got their basis in science. They're all about channeling energy. They're all about how electrical currents work when used with geometry and things like that. This is what sacred geometry is all about. It's all about channeling energy.